Haribol Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava
Kunja
Kunja
Bihari
Bihari
Gopijana
Gopijana
Vallabha
Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopijana
Gopijana
Vallabha
Vallabha
Girivaradhari
Girivaradhari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana
Yashodanandana
Brajajana
Vrajana
Ranjana
Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira
Chari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira
Chari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava
Kunja
Kunja
Bihari
Bihari
Gopijana
Gopijana
Vallabha
Vallabha
Girivaradhari Hare
Girivaradhari.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama.
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Gauranidai, Gauranidai, Jaya Gauranidai.
Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannath,
Jai
Jai
Baladeva,
Baladeva, Jai Subhadra.
Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai
Jai
Prabhupada, Jai
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Jai
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Jai
Jai
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Jai
Jai
Sri
Prabhupada.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai Gurudev.
Jai
Jai
Gurudev, Jai
Gurudev,
Gurudev, Jai
Jai
Gurudev, Jai
Gurudev,
Nidai
Gurudev.
Gaura Haribol, 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 Nidai Gaura Haribol.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Haribol,
Nitya Gaura
Haribol,
Hari Bol.
Haribol. Sri Sri Gauranitai ki
Jai,
jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai.
Jai,
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.
Jai
Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.
Bol, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining this morning's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam session.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Let's start today's verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
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 Namo
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 Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrutyam
Narayanam
Narayana
Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Deva
Devim
Narottamam
Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim
Devim Saraswatim
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato Jayam Vidirayet
Tato
Tato
Jayam
Jayamudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayesu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavata
Bhagavasevaya.
Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama
Bhagavati
Bhagavati
Uttama
Uttama
Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhaktir Bhavati
Bhakti
Naistiki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya
Krishnaya
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki
Devakinandanaya
Nandanaya
cha.
Cha
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Nanda Gopa
Nandagopakumaraya.
Kumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya
Govindaya
Namo
Namo Namaha.
Namaha.
We're reading from Canto 5, Chapter 4, text number 3. Yasya Hindraha Spardamano
Yasya
Indra
Hindraha
Spardamano.
Spardamano
Bhagavan Varshena Varsha
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Varshena
Varshena
Varsha.
Varsha
Tadavadharya Bhagavan Rishabhadevo
Tad
Tadavadarya
Avadarya
Bhagavan
Bhagavan Rishabhadeva
Rishabhadeva.
Yogeshwara Prayasatma Yogamayaya
Yogeshwara
Yogeshwara
Prakasyatma
Prayasatma
Yogamayaya
Yogamaya.
Swavarsham Ajanabham Namabhyavarshat
Swavarsham
Swavarsham Ajanabam
Namabhyavarsha.
Namabhyavarshat
Yasya Hindriya Spardamano
Yasya
Yasya
Indriya
Indriya
Spardamano.
Spardamano
Bhagavan Varshena Vavarsa
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Vashena
Varshena
Varsha.
Varsha
Tadavadarya Bhagavan Rishabhadevo
Tadavadarya
Tadavadarya
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Rishabhadeva.
Rishabhadeva
Yogeshwara Prahasat Syatma Yogamayaya
Yogeshwara
Ishvara
Prahasyatma
Prahasyatma
Yogamayaya
Yogamaya.
Swavarsham Ajanabham Namabhyavarshat
Swavarsham
Ajnabham Namavyavarshat
Yasya Hindra Spardamano
Yashandriya Spardhamana
Bhagavan Varshena Vavarsha
Bhagavan Varshena Vavarsha
Tadavadarya Bhagavan Rushabhadevo
Tadavarya Bhagavan Rishabdeva
Yogeshwara Prahasyatma Yogamayaya
Yogeshwara Prahasyatma Yogamaya
Swavarsham Ajanabham Namabhyavarshat
Swavarsham Ajnabham Namavyavarshat
Anyone would like to give it a try?
Yasya Hindraha Spardamano
Yasya
Indra Sparamano
Bhagavan Varshena Vavarasha
Bhagavan Varshena Vavarsha
Tadavadarya Bhagavan Vishwadevo
Tadavarya Bhagavan Rishabhadevo
Yogeshwara Prahas Yatma Yogamaya
Yogeshwara Prahasyatma
Yogamaya
Yogamaya
Swavarsham Ajanabham Namabhyavarshat
Swavarsham Ajanabham Namabhyavarshat
Word to word meanings. Yasya,
Yasya
of whom,
of
of
whom
whom
he,
he
indeed,
indeed
Indraha,
Indraha
Indraha,
King Indra of heaven,
King Indra of heaven,
of heaven
Spardamanaha,
Spardamanaha
being envious,
being envious
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan
very opulent,
very opulent
Varshe,
Varshe
on Bharatavarsha,
Bharatvarsha
Navavarsha,
Navavarsha
did not pour water,
did not pour water
Tat,
that
that, Avadharya,
Avadarya
knowing,
knowing
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead
Rushabhadevaha,
Vishwadevaha
Rushabhadeva,
Vishwadeva
Yogeshwaraha,
Yogeshwara
the master of all mystic power,
the master of all mystic
all
powers
mystic power
Prahasya,
Prahasya
smiling,
smiling
smiling
Atma Yoga Mayaya,
Atma Yoga Maya
Maya
by his own spiritual potency,
by his own spiritual
spiritual
potency
potency
Swavarsham,
Swavarsham
Swavarsham
on his place,
on his place
place
Ajanabham,
Ajanabham
Ajnabham
Ajanabha,
Ajnabha
Nama,
Nama
named,
named
Abhyavarshat,
Abhyavarshat
he poured water.
he poured water.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Indra, the king of heaven,
Indra, the king of
of
heaven,
heaven
who is very materially opulent,
who is very materially opulent,
became envious of King Vrishabhadeva.
became envious of King
Rishabdeva.
Rishabdeva.
Consequently, he stopped pouring water on the planet known as Bharatavarsha.
Consequently, he stopped pouring water on the planet known as Bharatvarsha.
At the time, the Supreme Lord Rishabhadeva,
At that time, the Supreme Lord Rishabdeva,
the master of all mystic power,
the master of all mystic power,
understood King Indra's purpose
understood King Indra's purpose
and smiled a little.
and smiled a little.
Then,
Then
by his own prowess,
by
by
his own
his
prowess,
prowess,
through Yogamaya,
through
through
Yogamaya,
Yogamaya,
his internal potency,
his
his
eternal
eternal
potency,
potency,
he profusely poured water upon his own place,
he profusely poured water upon his own place,
which was known as Ajanabha.
which
which
was
was
known as
known as
Janava.
Ajnava.
Purport. We find the word Bhagavan used twice in this verse. Both King Indra and Rishabhadeva, the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, are described as Bhagavan. Sometimes Narada and Lord Brahma are also addressed as Bhagavan. The word Bhagavan means that one is a very opulent and powerful person like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Narada, or Indra. They are all addressed as Bhagavan due to their extraordinary opulence. King Rishabhadeva is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and therefore he was the original Bhagavan. Consequently, he is described herein as Yogeshwara, which indicates that he has the most powerful spiritual potency. He is not dependent on King Indra for water. He can supply water himself, and he did so in this case. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Yagnat Bhavati Parjanya. Due to the performance of Yagna, clouds of water are manifest in the sky. Clouds and rainfall are under the management of Indra, the heavenly king. But when Indra is neglectful, the Supreme Lord himself, who is also known as Yagna or Yagnapati, takes the task upon himself. Consequently, there was sufficient rainfall in the place named Ajanaba. When Yagnapati wants to, he can do anything without the help of any subordinate. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is known as Almighty. In the present age of Kali, there will eventually be a great scarcity of water, anavrushti, for the general populace. Due to ignorance and the scarcity of yagnic ingredients, will neglect to perform yagnas. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam therefore advises, Yagna sankirtana praya yajanti sumedasaha. After all, yagna is meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this age of Kali, there is great scarcity and ignorance. Nonetheless, everyone can perform Sankirtana Yagna. Every family in every society can conduct Sankirtana Yagna at least every evening. In this way, there will be no disturbance or scarcity of rain. It is essential for people in this age to perform Sankirtana Yagna in order to be materially happy and to advance spiritually. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांस च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam bangul langayate gurum yatkrupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dhinataranam Paramanandamadavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Thank you all joining for this morning's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam session. So as always, I would like to seek the blessings of all the devotees gathered here, from my own Guru Maharaj and all the Guru Parampara, for their causeless blessings, so that I may be able to speak this verse and purport with an appropriate mind. So whatever I'm going to speak, that's purely only for my purification. So please, I would hope that you would give your causeless blessings upon me. So if we, excuse me. So this verse introduces us to extraordinary personalities. On one side, we have Indra, right? The mighty king of heaven, appointed by the Lord to administer rainfall throughout the universe. Quite an important service, isn't it? Yeah. And on the other side is Lord Rishabhadev, the supreme personality of Godhead, appearing as an ideal king to teach humanity by his own example. So, at first glance, it almost looks like a conflict between two powerful rulers. But as we read the verse, we realize this is not really a story about rain, right? It's a story about the heart. It's a story about envy, about humility, about the difference between the delegated power and the Supreme Lord's unlimited power. And then the Srila Prabhupada does something wonderful. He doesn't leave this pastime as an ancient story or history. He brings it straight into our lives. He shows us what this pastime means for all of us, especially as devotees trying to practice Krishna consciousness in Kali Yuga. Right? So, looking beyond Indra, when we read this verse, it is very easy to think Indra made a big mistake. And that is true, but the Bhagavatam is not just telling us about Indra. It is holding up a mirror and gently asking each of us, what can I learn from this verse for my own devotional life? Most of us will probably never be tested with the kingdom of heaven, right? And none of us has to manage the rainfall for the universe. But Krishna gives us many smaller tests every day. Just things don't go the way as we expected. It's been happening to me for the last 1 or 2, 3 days. Of course, it was very small. So those are our actually tests. And those little moments often reveal what's still inside within our heart. If we are honest within ourselves, we sometimes notice a little pride, a little comparison, or a little envy. Not to discourage us, but to show us where Krishna is still helping us to grow. That's the one of the beautiful things about bhakti. Krishna does not reveal these anarthas to reject us. He reveals them so that by his mercy, we can let them go and come closer to him. So how envy appears in devotional life? Do we see that in spiritual life at all? No. Unfortunately, the answer is yes, isn't it? His Holiness, so in His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj once said, one of the greatest obstacles in all of creation is envy. So that's a very strong statement, right? Just think about that for a moment. If someone asked us, what's your biggest obstacle in devotional life? We might say, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. Or my wealth, my health, or my family responsibilities, my mind, and so on, right? But Maharaj says the real obstacle is much deeper. It is envy. Now, when we hear this pastime, we might think, well, that is Indra. Even the king of heaven became envious. But the Bhagavatam does not want us to stop there. It's gently asking us, can I see a little bit of Indra within myself? Srila Prabhupada explains that envy is actually the nature of the conditioned soul. Isn't it? Originally, we wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna, to be independent, to be the proprietor, to be the controller. So the tendency does not appear the day we become the devotees. Bhakti gradually purifies it. The challenge is that envy is very subtle. None of us usually wakes up in the morning and says, today I'm feeling very envious, right? It doesn't work like that. Envy usually comes wearing another name. That's comparison. Just look at Indra in this verse. He wasn't lacking anything. He had great power, prestige, wealth, respect. But the moment someone else's glory increased, his mind began comparing. And if we are honest, that same thing can quietly happen in our own hearts. We might think they are doing so well. I wish I had that opportunity. So those thoughts may seem very small, but if we don't recognize them early, comparison starts taking us in different direction. Sometimes it discourages us. Maybe I'm not good enough. Other times it feeds our ego. At least I'm doing better than someone else, right? Either way, our attention has shifted, unfortunately. Instead of looking towards Krishna, we have started looking sideways. And that is the problem with comparison. As long as my happiness depends on how I compare with someone else, I will never find lasting peace. Because there will always be someone who can speak better, someone who can sing better, someone who can manage things better, who can preach better. And that's perfectly okay. Krishna never asked us to become someone else. He simply asks us to lovingly serve him with whatever he has given us. And have we noticed something else? Very often, we are not disturbed by someone else's success in an area where we have no interest or ability. It's quite interesting, right? If someone is for example, if someone is an amazing singer, we may simply think that's wonderful. But if we also started to sing a little, that's when the mind can start comparing. Or if someone is a wonderful manager and we also have done some management, then the comparison comes much more naturally, right? Why does that happen? Because the false ego quietly wants to be known as the best in that area. It wants recognition, appreciation. It wants the ownership of that ability. And that's exactly happened with Indra. What disturbed him was seeing someone else's glory. And that's a very important lesson. Envy is not really about not having enough. It is about thinking that's my talent, that this is my service or position, and this is my achievement. As long as we think like that, someone else's success will always feel like our loss, right? But bhakti teaches us seeing things differently. This talent belongs to Krishna. This service belongs to Krishna. Even the ability to serve belongs to Krishna. We are simply being given an opportunity to participate in his service, right? And when that understanding becomes deeper, something beautiful happens. Another devotee's success no longer threatens us. Instead, we think how wonderful Krishna is being glorified, right? So, isn't that a mood of a Vaishnava? Not that I want to become the greatest servant, but may Krishna be glorified through me, through you, and through anyone he chooses. When that becomes our prayer, envy gradually loses its place in the heart and service becomes more joyful. So, we have spent some time talking about the disease. Then the natural question is, what is the cure? Thankfully, the Bhagavatam does not just help us diagnosing the problem. It also gives us the medicine, right? Probably Kadambari Mataji could relate it very well because she was a doctor. And the medicine is surprisingly simple. Hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna, glorify Krishna. That's all. Why is that cure? Because when we hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or chant the holy names, We are not just reading a book or repeating, say, some sounds. We are associating directly with Krishna. And just as darkness cannot remain where the sun is shining, envy cannot remain where there is genuine association with Krishna. Now, we may say, I know I should chant more, I should read more, but sometimes I just don't feel like it. We all have experienced that, right? Haven't we? Srila Prabhupada explains it with a wonderful example. He compares our condition to someone suffering from jaundice. To a person with jaundice, sugar candy tastes bitter. Is the sugar bitter? No, the tongue is diseased. But here is the amazing thing. The same sugar candy is the medicine, and the disease goes away. As the disease goes away, the sweetness comes back. It's the same with the holy name. It's the same with the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It's the same with the Harikatha. They are always sweet. If we don't experience that sweetness, it does not mean there is something wrong with Krishna. It simply means our heart is still being purified. That is why the mind says, maybe I will just watch something instead. I will scroll on my phone for a few minutes. I will skip the class this week, right? The mind is always looking somewhere else for enjoyment. But the medicine is right in front of us. The more we hear, the more we chant, the more we associate with devotees, the more our heart gradually changes, almost without noticing it. That's how envy begins to disappear. There is another very practical way to weaken envy. Learn to appreciate other devotees. Gopi Bhartur Pada Kamalayor Dasa Dasa Dasanu Dasa. Right? This is our process. We don't approach Krishna directly. We just begin our service to the Krishna's servants. When that's our mood, there is a very little room left for comparison. Because Krishna is being glorified. And that's the real Vaishnava culture. There is one more thing we need to remember. Bhakti is not a race. Krishna is not comparing us with one another. He is looking at our sincerity. Think about a mother whose 5-year-old child gives her a little drawing. She doesn't compare it with the work of a famous artist. She treasures it. Why? Because it was offered with love. Krishna is the same. One devotee may preach to thousands. Another quietly washes the pots. Another cooks. Another cleans the temple. Another simply offers one flower with love. And if it is done for Krishna's pleasure, it is perfect. Maybe we ask a different question. Am I serving Krishna today with more sincerity than I did yesterday. Probably that's a much more healthier competition. Not with another devotee, with our own previous self. And there is one final understanding that protects us from envy, to think that, or to realize that we are not the doers, we are the simply instruments. Think of a bank teller. You withdraw $1,000, the teller hands you the money. Imagine if the teller said, "Look how generous I am. I gave you $1,000. We probably would laugh, isn't it? Yeah? The money wasn't theirs. They were simply part of the transaction. So, isn't that true in our own service? If someone benefits from our class, who gave us the intelligence? If someone appreciates our cooking, who supplied the ingredients, the ability, and the opportunity? If someone is helped by our preaching or management, who gave us the strength to do it? Everything belongs to Krishna. He is the owner and the giver and the maintainer. We are simply fortunate that he let us to participate. That's exactly what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Ahankara vimudatma kartahamiti manyate. So the bewildered soul thinks, I am the doer, ahankar. But Krishna reminds us, under my supervision, everything is taking place. The more we realize that, the easier humility becomes. Because we know Krishna is working through us. Then the question is no longer who did more. The question becomes, was Krishna pleased? And really, that's only the question matters. When we live with that understanding, envy slowly disappears. And our heart becomes peaceful because Krishna, not ourselves, is finally at the center. So, as we have been discussing this subtle obstacle of envy, it's quite wonderful that today is also the disappearance day of Sri Swarupa Damodar Goswami. Sometimes the scriptures teach us through a pastime. Sometimes they teach us through a person. Indra shows us what envy can do. And Swarup Damodar shows us what a heart free from envy looks like. Just think about who he was. He was one of the closest associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu's personal secretary. He managed Mahaprabhu's intimate daily affairs in Puri. He, an extraordinary scholar, a wonderful poet, an expert musician, deeply realized in Krishna consciousness. He had every reason to be proud, yet we never find him trying to become the center of attention. His only concern was, how can I please Mahaprabhu? Isn't that beautiful? Only a pure heart asks, how can Krishna become more glorified? Because Mahaprabhu knew the purity of his heart. So he delegated Swarupa Damodar with an incredibly intimate service. Anything that was going to be presented before Mahaprabhu, a poem, a song, or a philosophical composition, would first go through Swarupa Damodar. Just imagine that responsibility. But he never used that service to show everyone how learned he was. That wasn't his mood. His only concern was, will this please Mahaprabhu? And everything else was secondary. And I think there is a wonderful lesson. Sometimes we think devotional advancement depends on how much we know, how well we speak, how talented we are, or how many services we perform. Those things certainly have their place, but Krishna looks much deeper. He looks at the heart. And perhaps that's why great souls like Swarupa Damodar were assigned with such an intimate service. Not simply because they were qualified, of course they were, but because they were free from selfish ambition. The more our heart becomes free from envy, free from comparison, the more we become dependable instruments in Krishna's hands. And really, isn't that what we all want? Not necessarily a bigger service, but a purer heart with which to serve. It's beautiful that today we are also remembering the disappearance day of Sri Shivananda Sena. The lives of great Vaishnavas don't just teach philosophy. They show us how to live it. We have just spoken about Swarupa Damodar Goswami. His only concern was, how can I please Mahaprabhu? He simply wanted Mahaprabhu to be pleased. That's all. And then we have Sri Sivananda Sena. Sivananda was also one of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate servants or associates. And what is he remembered for? He is remembered because he lovingly served the devotees. Every year, he would organize the entire pilgrimage from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. He arranged accommodation, food, transportation, taxes, or tickets for every practical detail, so that the devotees could simply focus on serving Mahaprabhu. Once, one of those pilgrimages, a dog started following the devotees. Most of us might think it is just a dog, but not Sivananda Sena. He made sure that even the dog was fed every day. When they came to a river crossing, he even paid the ferry tickets for the dog. So the dog could cross the river with devotees. That's his compassion. That's seeing every living being as connected to Krishna. Then one evening, Sivanand was delayed arranging accommodation. When he finally arrived, he discovered that the dog had not been fed. He became so distressed that he didn't even eat that night. The next day, the dog had disappeared. Later, when they reached Jagannath Puri, they saw something astonishing. The dog was sitting near Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was personally giving the dog coconut prasadam. And the dog was chanting, Krishna, Krishna. Just think about that. Sivanand immediately offered his obeisances to the dog and begged forgiveness. Oh my goodness. Look at his humility. There is another pastime that reveals the same mood. On another pilgrimage, Sivanand was again delayed because he was busy serving all devotees. Since the arrangements were not ready, Lord Nityananda, in his transcendental mood, appeared angry and even said, I curse your 3 sons to die. Naturally, Sivananda's wives became very upset. But when Sivananda heard what had happened, he simply said, if that is Lord Nityananda's desire, then let it be. No complaints, no justifications. When he finally met Lord Nityananda, the Lord even kicked him. How would we react if something like that happens to us? But Sivananda Sen felt very honored. He said, now I know that Lord has accepted this fallen soul as his servant. What an incredible mood, right? No pride at all, only gratitude, only service. I think that's why we are remembering him today. He teaches us that real devotional life is not about being recognized. It is about serving with sincerity. That whether we are appreciated, criticized, honored, or ignored, or even misunderstood, we simply continue serving Guru and Krishna with gratitude. And that's a heart where envy cannot survive. So, towards the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada leaves us with something very practical. He doesn't just tell us what the problem is. He gives us the solution. And the wonderful thing is, it is a solution every one of us can practice. It doesn't matter who we are, what our age, our education, our background, our abilities. Doesn't really matter. So the yajna for this age is Sankirtana yajna. the congregational chanting of the holy names. And isn't that wonderful? Today is also Jagannath Rath Yatra in Puri. What a perfect connection, right? Sometimes people think Rath Yatra is just a colorful festival, but it is much more than that. It is one of the greatest expressions of Sankirtana Yajna. Just picturize it in your own mind. Thousands and thousands of devotees, including all of us who gathered here today, chanting, dancing, pulling Lord Jagannath's chariot, cooking prasadam, cleaning, welcoming guests, serving in so many different ways. Everyone is participating in this yajna for Kali Yuga. And that was Srila Prabhupada's vision. He didn't want Rath Yatra to remain only in Puri. He brought Lord Jagannath to the streets of London, New York, Melbourne, Brisbane, and all over the world. Why? Because he wanted everyone to participate. You don't need any special qualifications. You can chant, you can dance, you can pull the ropes, you can distribute prasadam, you can simply come and hear. Everyone has a place. And notice how beautifully Rath Yatra answers the very problem we have been discussing today. Envy says, I want to be the center, and Rath Yatra teaches, let Jagannath be the center. Hari Bol, right? Isn't that really what devotional life is? When Krishna is at the center, comparison slowly becomes appreciation. Recognition becomes gratitude. And service becomes joyful. I think that is one of the greatest, deepest messages of Rath Yatra. Lord Jagannath doesn't remain inside the temple waiting for us to come to him. Out of his mercy, he comes out looking for us. In the same way, Mahaprabhu has taken the holy name out into the streets and invited everyone to join him. No qualifications required. Just come, chant, serve. So whatever we are going through, whether it's envy, discouragement, family challenges, health issues, or difficulties in our service, the instruction remains the same. Stay close to the holy name. Stay close to the Vaishnavas. Keep Jagannath in the center. Everything else will gradually fall into the place. So, on this beautiful day of Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra in Puri, let us pray for one blessing. Somehow or other, may our words, our service, and our behavior inspire one more person to take one step closer to Jagannath. And that is real Sankirtana Yajna. And that is the cure for envy. And that is the path back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. With that, I would like to stop here and open the forum. If we have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for such a nice class. And the points about in this verse about envy, and we can see that in this material world, everybody is envious because we designate ourselves as a body, and this material body is the one which is the bondage and is the cause of envy. I was just reading somewhere that there are actually 4 types of enviousness. One is the emulative, inert, aggressive, and spiteful. In emulative enviness, there is a motivation to improve ourselves by striving to achieve what another person possesses. That's one enviousness. Inert enviousness is feeling of imperfection and without the desire to improve. The first one wants to achieve, but the second inert one doesn't have any desire to improve. The aggressive envy is a desire to tear down the envied person, and sometimes through very malicious actions, whereas a spiteful envy is the most destructive, leading to attempts to ruin the envied person's life. So we see all these types of enviousness is there. The example in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we have seen Prahlad Maharaj and how Hiranyakashipu, he is the father of Prahlad Maharaj, and he is just trying to kill him by various means. So envy is the root cause, which is actually soul's material bondage. So if we are envious, we can never be liberated. Liberated means that we can never achieve the perfection, means the love of Godhead. So this is very important thing that we have to do. And what is the remedy? We have to engage our senses in hearing and chanting and utilize our time in devotional service. So we use our energy in doing that, engaging in devotional service, as you have mentioned so nicely. And that is the way we can get rid of this envious nature. Thank you very much about the stories. We remember Shivanand Sena and even the protection of the... Yeah. No, Shivanand Sena, I'm just talking, who was leading the people from Mayapur to Jagannath Puri, and the dog was there. It's my favorite story. The dog goes back to Godhead. Thank you very much for such a lovely class. Prabhuji, this subject of enviousness, we see throughout in our daily lives, that how do become simple things we become envious. So the only method, chanting, hearing the glories of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, association of devotees. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class and reminding us of that. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, just happening to me, so for the last 1 or 2 days, a little thing was not happening with the way I expected. So I constantly am reminding myself, no, hold on, and things like that, so that I won't get frustrated. Why is it not happening, right? So, but yeah, Krishna tells us just to be an instrument. Yeah, nimatta matrena bhavasabesaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Shalendra here.
Yeah.
Very basic question. Hare Krishna. Very basic question. In all the scriptures, it is mentioned, and we've read often, that Lord Indra is pleased by yagna and gives rainfall, but rain falls all around all the parts of this world without yagnas or with yagnas. How do you explain that?
Without the yagnas, we can see the rainfall. Yes. Yeah, but actually, these rainfalls, yes, and even we could see many different places. And yesterday also we had rainfall, right? But we may see it or not, somewhere else great devotees doing tapasyas, doing great austerities for all of us, for the welfare of the whole humanity. But otherwise, it's not possible. Yes, there is rain we can see, and there may be rain expected in the coming week. But yes, one may say, yeah, then where is the yajna is happening, right? But whatever we are discussing, isn't this an yajna? Like we've been discussing Harikatha, right? We've been chanting every day, and we've been, singing the glories of the Lord. Everything is happening, but not just because of that we have been doing and it has been raining. But what I'm trying to say is, we may see it or not, but there are great devotees, great personalities who work who purely only for welfare of all others. This Bhagavatam, this Bhagavatam was given just for the welfare of the mankind, right? And it itself an yajna. So things are happening. We may see it or not, but yeah, probably because of all their causeless blessings and all their great austerities, and the things are still happening favorably. And wherever there is calamity, yes, wherever there is, as we know, adharma, wherever there is adharma prevails, and there are calamities, natural calamities.
But the rain's falling all over all parts of the world. Not just your reference is just about where these holy books are read, which is a part of our region, but rain falls all over the world.
And
See,
Prabhuji,
that is the beauty about. Sorry, Maria. So
I was just about to interrupt
yeah.
because you see, I was just reminded of how we say that the whole world prays, we all pray, and there is one shloka we always say at the end: "Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkham apnuyat." And this is like we Krishna conscious people usually don't say, but all the Ved mantras and all the people who are chanting Vishnu Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam, every time at the end of the prayer, Gita, what is that? Gayatri Parivar, everybody is saying Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. And as you just now said, Sarve, everybody. So it is not just India or just us, it's the whole world. And it was just a little ad from me. Sorry, Hare Krishna.
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but yeah. So thank you, Mataji, for adding that. Yeah, but the Prabhu's is more the question is more related to the physical location. See, that's the beauty about bhakti. It's not limited to the physical surfaces. Like see, if someone is sick and devotees around the world, praying for them, right? And my own Guru Maharaj is currently going through health issues. He's been in the ICU, but we've been praying. He's now in Bangalore, but we've been praying for him from Brisbane here, right from here, Mansfield. And there are devotees praying from different parts of the world. See, that is the beauty of what bhakti. The whole point of the bhakti is it's not about the physical, the boundaries, like, so it can travel, where we cannot see the things. So I can think good about you without presenting right next to you. Yeah, but things that can happen still works. It's all about the mind, the mental calculation. So if we don't have, if we have good intentions, pure heart, yes, the physical, there are no physical boundaries for the good intentions, and the prayer still works. So of course we see that even in movies, right? If I have to say some mundane example, if a person who is suffering from in an operation theater, and all of a sudden their family members or maybe their relatives prays for them, they don't have to stay inside the hospital and pray to the God. So this bhakti is not limited to the physical location. But you can pray for someone from anywhere. So that's what I see. So it don't have any limitations to the physical boundaries. You can pray for anyone from any location, from anywhere, and still the miracles happen.
Thanks, Prabhu.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class. As usual, your way of expressing is very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your kind words. Yeah, if we don't have any other further comments or questions, then would end the class here. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज
श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जगन्नाथ रथ यात्रा
Hare Krishna,
महामहोत्सव की
Prabhuji.
जय।
Jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you,
My
Prabhuji.
great Sivapati Gauracandra Das Prabhu ji ki jai.
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 Hari
Hare
Bol.
Bol. Hare Bol.
Hari Bol.